AEW Revolution is tomorrow night, and tonight is the go-home show for Collision. I am going to give you my predictions for Revolution tomorrow night, and then talk to you about some new segment for my channel. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Hope you're having a great weekend. We've got Collision later on tonight, but I'm going to mainly make this video about my predictions for Revolution. Collision has a great-looking card tonight, and so I want to let you guys let me know in the comments what your favorite part was of Collision once you get done watching it. Whenever you do, let me know that down in the comments. And then also let me know your predictions for Revolution. But mine are going to be coming up here shortly on this video. Before I get to that, real quick, I want to talk about some great news for AEW heading into Revolution. It has been said that AEW pay-per-views are going to air in over 180 countries through DAZN, starting with AEW Revolution. All of 2026, I have a deal with them. I know they're huge with boxing as well, so it's great to just give another option for people to watch AEW. We have My AEW, we have DAZN now for all these outside countries. It doesn't include the US, Canada, and a few other countries. I forget the full list. And then us people here in the States, we have HBO Max. It's going to be a phenomenal show. And not only with that great news, we have some other great news. Revolution is completely sold out. It sells over 11,000 tickets distributed. The last I checked on it, it was not even 100 tickets away from breaking the record for Revolution, which was set, I believe, actually last year. Ever since Revolution of 2024, Sting's retirement match, that is when I truly feel like AEW really started to turn things around. And then they had a wonderful 2025. They are off to a hot start in 2026, and they are making more milestones again. And you've got the naysayers, you've got the haters out there that are still gonna, for whatever fucking reason, say, oh, AEW's still gonna fail. You know, my AEW is not gonna work. It's gonna fail like the WWE Network. No, you know what? The reason why the WWE Network failed is because we see the proof in the numbers now. They don't have that great of an audience outside of the United States and Canada. Think back to when Raw was still on regular cable on TV instead of on Netflix like it is now. They averaged between, I want to say it was like 1.5 to 2.5 million, give or take. It fluctuated in that range. And now they're on Netflix and they're lucky to get 1 million more than that for the whole rest of the world. All of these other countries, Netflix is the biggest streaming service. It is available in pretty much every single country in the world, yet they can only scrap up 1 million more people to watch, less than what they got when they were on traditional cable. That shows that they are not huge outside the United States. Majority of WWE's fans are either in the US, Saudi Arabia, or the UK. That is about it. You don't see as many in other countries. I'm sure there are some. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I am saying that I feel like that's a huge reason why the WWE Network failed and why they had to go to eventually back to TV because they weren't seeing greater numbers than what they saw when they were just on cable. And now they're trying with Netflix. And ever since their very first episode, when they had, I think, like 5 or 6 million, they haven't seen even close to that since, because people gave it a shot, and clearly with their quality, they're like, well, this is ass. I'm not going to rewatch it. And it dropped and never went back up close to that number since. So those naysayers can shove it. AEW is here to say it has now been 7 years about. They just look more and more foolish the longer they go with this rant of saying that it's going to fail. It's a next WCW, blah, blah, blah. It ain't going anywhere. And so seeing that Revolution sold out 11,000 plus tickets is incredible. And we're just getting started. It honestly feels like AEW season. Am I right? You know, what do you guys feel? I personally feel that the spring and summer is AEW's territory. I think that starting with Revolution, very early spring, or I guess late winter, all the way through the summer, really feels like AEW just dominates. I mean, they have clearly the better pay-per-views, but we've got Revolution tomorrow night. We've got Dynasty next month. We got Double or Nothing in May, and that's one of their biggest shows. And then before you know it, we're going to be seeing Will Ospreay having a monumental crowd reaction at All In, because I feel like he will be there to wrestle. And my prediction is that he returns to the screen, of a live audience at Double or Nothing in May. I feel like that is probably slated to be the odds-on favorite for him to return. Will be in May. He'll get in some sort of dispute with somebody. Not quite sure what they have plans for Will Ospreay when he does return, but that is ultimately going to lead to a feud that we will see at All In August. So yes. And then they have All Out the following month of September. Again, maybe it's just me, but what do you guys think? Like, am I wrong? It really feels like AEW season is spring and summer. Now on to the main chunk of this video, my predictions. Here are all the matches, not including a couple that are going to be pre-show. There's one with Big Boom AJ and what are they called? The Boom and Doom or something like that. And Marshall are teaming up against, I don't even remember who it was. But anyways, that's on the pre-show. I guess I'll go with Big Boom AJ just to get the crowd kind of warmed up. 0 Hour TBS Championship match. I see Willow Nightingale retaining. However, we could see her drop it because of interference. I'm not entirely sure why I feel that way. I just feel like there might be some interference in this match, and she drops that belt and just focuses on the tag titles for a little bit. That's just what my gut's telling me. And then I think that's it for 0 Hour matches. I think it's just the two. There may be a third that I'm forgetting, but I'm just going off of this graphic, really. And now on to the main card. I like to predict the order, not only just who I think is going to win when I do these predictions. So I feel like you're not going to have back-to-back title matches to close out the show. So I feel like they're going to open with a banger. They're going to have a title match right away. And I genuinely feel like it's going to be for the tag titles. I think right away we're going to get FTR versus the Young Bucks. I have FTR retaining because I think this is a smart place to have Adam Copeland and Christian Cage finally return after Adam was out filming for something. I forget what it was. And then we finally get the build for these two to face each other at maybe Double or Nothing in May. Or if they really want to prolong it, maybe we get that at All In. But that is my prediction for that first match. I feel like that is going to be the first match. If it's not that, I think it's got to be at least a title match. And again, I'm going with FTR on that. Next, I think it's going to be Brody King and Swerve in a singles match. I think that'll be the next one. I've got Swerve winning this. I think Brody King, it would be a bigger surprise if he wins over Swerve, because Swerve, with this turn, I feel like he's about to get a monumental push back into the world title picture. I would love to see Brody King win, though, so hopefully I'm wrong. But my gut, I always go with my gut on these. I'm going with Swerve. Next, I think we're going to get that trios match. We've got the Don Callis family versus Mystico and Jet Speed. I've got the Don Callis family retaining, keeping the belts. I think that's one of the more predictable matches actually on this card. But I'm going to add in a little bit of spice to this. I feel like Kevin Knight's going to turn on Mike Bailey here. I think he's going to transition into a heel turn post-match here. So that's my prediction on that. Then I think we'll get the first women's match. I think we're going to get Statlander and Tekla for that belt. Got Tekla retaining. I think they need to end this feud, as it's been pretty entertaining, but I think Tekla just needs a new opponent. And so I got her retaining. And then after that, I think we're going to go with Andrade and Bandito. That's going to be the next match that I predict is going to happen in the order. This is a toss-up, really. I think Bandito's great. I think Andrade's great. Both are great Hispanic wrestlers in AEW. I think Bandito still, to this day, right now, currently, is the best luchador in pro wrestling. So this is actually one of the toughest matches for me to predict. I feel like Andrade wins though because I think he will be about to lose, kind of like Kyle Fletcher did against Bailey, and then somebody in the Don Callis family is going to come out and help him and aid him to beat Bandito. So that's my guess there. Then after that, we're going to do the trios match between Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Darby Allin versus the Dogs. I would like to see the Dogs come out on top on this. I really think that they should push these three as top heel trios. I won't be upset if they lose, but that's just the outcome that I want to happen, and my gut is also telling me that that's what happens. But then again, possible spicy thing to add in to the end of this, maybe they attack these three post-match, and we get a returning Jay White. And maybe Jay White inserts himself feuding against the Dogs. And maybe we see not only that, but a returning Colton Gunn also come out. And then we got those guys, Bullet Club Gold, going against the Dogs. I forgot about the 21-man Battle Royal. I feel like that's going to be a lot earlier in the card. So forgive me on that. Boy, I really don't know where to go with this one. I feel like you got to have Ricochet retain because he really hasn't defended it much. This match is the most unpredictable one, obviously, because it's a 21-man blackjack battle royal. I don't know who's going to be in it. Are we going to get a debut? Are we going to get a surprise return? I have no clue, but I'm excited to see what happens. But I feel like ultimately Ricochet will retain. Then we got Tony Storm and Marina Shafir. This one is also kind of interesting because everyone's banned from ringside. I'm going to go Tony Storm on this. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle for her, but I think she's going to end up winning this. Babes of Wrath and Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. I feel like this is one of those pay-per-views where they can do back-to-back women's matches because there's 4 on the card. And I see this one's tough too. Now that I'm sitting here looking at it, I want to say the Babes of Wrath retain, but you got to eventually have a heel team win those titles because I feel like it's ultimately going to happen that we see the Brawling Birds probably be the next face team to win the titles, and I could see them definitely having a feud with Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. So you know what? I'm going to go with Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. I feel like the Babes of Wrath are going to finally drop those belts. Then I think the 2 matches that are going to close out the co-main event, Moxley and Takeshita, no time limit, Continental Championship. I mean, this very well could start the show too. Again, I do think one of the championship title matches will start the show. This one feels like it should be the co-main event, though. I think it's going to go on long. I think it'll actually probably be the longest match of the night. I think these two are going to go at least half an hour. And this one's also really tough for me, too. I don't know if it is for you guys or not, but I have gone back and forth all week long on whether I see Moxley retaining or Takeshita winning that belt. But I feel like they are really building up the Don Callis family lately to just all of them right now hold titles. I mean, you got the trios titles. If Takeshita wins that, you have that as well. Okada has his separate title. I mean, just gold all over the place on the Don Callis family. Could be very well the case. But I don't know. My gut's telling me Moxley retains. I don't know why. I could be wrong, but I'm going with Moxley. And then finally, the main event. I don't necessarily like that it's Texas Death. I don't really like the situation, the stipulation much at all. The build for this has been phenomenal. I think these two are 2 of the biggest faces for AEW in terms of like face of the company. Hangman as the face, MJF as like a tweener because he's been face before, but he's mostly been a heel. And they're both young. They both carry so much weight on their shoulders. They really excel AEW as a company and boost them just being around. So it's really tough to pick, but it sounds like that stipulation, the second stipulation, not only the match, but if Hangman loses, you can't defend, because it sounded like, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but it sounded like they brought it back up recently on this past Dynamite, that it is still part of the match, part of the stipulation. So I feel like you can't have Hangman never challenge for the belt again. Don't do what you did to Cody Rhodes, unless you somehow make it different, like the outcome down the line with that stipulation. I had always predicted before Cody Rhodes left to actually go to WWE when he lost his opportunity and he was never going to gain it back. I had thought that maybe at some point he would get in a feud where it's like an I Quit match. And so he loses that too, has to quit AEW, but then he comes back like 6 months later with a new contract. And then, loophole, that old contract was the one that said that he could never challenge for it. With the new contract that is not tied to it, maybe it's something like that. Maybe they do something like that with Hangman. I'm not entirely sure, but I gotta give the edge to Hangman. I feel like it's kind of a short reign for MJF. Maybe he's going off to film something. Who knows? MJF is a very, very popular pro wrestler, and he's definitely implementing himself into Hollywood at a young age. So I want to say Hangman wins this, but would it be absolutely fucking crazy? Can you imagine if MJF wins? Like, what in the hell is Adam Page going to do if MJF wins? How are they going to rewrite this where the rest of his career he can't challenge for it? I know he was briefly trios champs with Jet Speed. He could go back after the tag titles at some point. He could go after Mox's belt at some point. Like, I get there's other belts, but Hangman is such a key part to AEW, just as much so as Cody Rhodes was. And I feel like that was one of the hiccups that AEW had early on. A few mistakes that they've made early on was writing Cody Rhodes into that storyline. And then the rest of the history of that. So this is probably one of the most compelling main events in a long time for AEW, because I am genuinely serious. I am genuinely curious on where this is going to go if Hangman loses, and if I'm right, that stipulation is still acted in the match. So you let me know down below how you feel about the main event. And I want to hear again from you guys your predictions on every single match on this card. I will be responding to as many of you as I can. And finally, to close out this video, the new segment that I'm going to introduce into my videos. I don't know if I'm going to do it every video. Maybe it seems like it's something I could if I go out. Wouldn't be hard to find content for this. I am starting a new segment called the DDT. Yes, a pro wrestling term, but it stands for the Daily Dumb Take, or tweet if it's Twitter related, or X. But the Daily Dumb Take, and here is the very first one. Look at that up there. This is from, I guess, some Twitter page that goes off by the name of AEW Awfulness, so already a dumb take. He goes on to say, I wonder if HBO Max will go under now that AEW has started its own streaming service. The lowest rated streaming service just lost 500,000 viewers. That can't be good, right? Well, let's dive into why this is a daily, stupid ass take. Like, Peacock was completely fine before WWE. They're fine after WWE. You've got other apps too that have lost things, gained things. It happens all the time with Netflix, with HBO Max, with Hulu, all these other apps and services that have existed for years now have gone through stuff like this plenty of times. So it's not going to suddenly end HBO Max. These e-stands are so toxic, so cancerous, basically, that they are literally wishing for the downfall in a way, in a sense, for the service that carried AEW the last, 2 years now. It is unbelievable. In the comments in there, you guys can try and find this tweet if it's still up anyway. The comments are hilarious. I mean, there's people defending it, and then there's obviously clear-minded people that are opposing it and saying why it's so foolish. But it really is. I mean, AEW's got My AEW now. Smart backup plan in case the Paramount stuff doesn't follow through. But HBO Max is going nowhere. They have already discussed this with the deal. The deal isn't even going to fully enact until probably the end of next year. So there are plenty of things for HBO Max to gain to replace AEW if AEW is removed entirely from there and Paramount. And then we just have to use My AEW or Amazon Prime for the pay-per-views. But, I mean, we got other options. We got DAZN now. Everything's going to be fine. HBO Max is going to be fine. This was an awful take. And that's all I have on this episode of Screw the Script. Let me know down below your predictions for AEW Revolution. And let me know what you think about the new segment and your thoughts on that take that I think was a DDT. As always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.